Just like we rehearsed. Boys.
By the way, neither one of us spilled our coffee. Right there, that's get your little
chicken hat.
Brady cat turkey.
That was hilarious.
Whatever.
Oh boy. I was gonna play piano for a second. A lot of people don't know that Richard's an accomplished piano player. At least that's what he says. Yeah. Right. Okay. Aw. So sad. This is the third track on his album, everybody. So I hope you picked that up. It's a concept piece. Music to sleep to. Yes, music to sleep, and how you do it. How to sleep.
Rob is at the hole, and he makes fun of my music. It cuts to the core.
That's my favorite part.
May he die a painful death. 1,000 needles in his anus, Rob
It's a love song.
I know he got drugs in his pooper. I know he likes to get high all the time, especially when he's watching the children. However, that's off point. Can I help you?
Thank you.
Billy Moran is also
It's still going.
a butthole.
So,
But he's cooler than I am, so now he's made me nervous. Hey, Mike.
trying, I don't know where it is, but
bunch of jerks.
yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's on his album. So that's the kind of thing you're gonna get. That's the treat.
Loud and swaying, more like loud and jerks.
Well,
Sorry, Billy Moore Jerk and Michael Moore Jerk.
well,
And Rob Bennett and still a jerk.
Here's an easy one, Aaron.
I like my favorite part of that song was when you're doing the ding and ding and you're.
And my gut just took over the lower keys. I thought that was dramatic. Sort of level of skill slash
I just love
lung
it.
health.
And on the album, it's that way too.
Yeah.
It's just really.
Oh, we did it live. I mean, you want to do that live. So, for those who aren't clear, that's Rob Benedict. I'm Rich Spade. And we're detectives. And we're going to take questions. Because that's what they had us do when they said Q&A. Apparently it's Q&A.
We just found out we were doing this, by the way.
So here we go. Do it. Dive in.
How
Hi guys, Richard, I love your song. Great song.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so my dad wants to know how much of an impact did you have on your characters' lines and actions, and did you play the characters as they were written, or were you able to add or change the roles a bit?
I didn't add any dialogue. You don't do a lot of improv in Supernatural. It's pretty much written. Any changes you're going to make would be a conversation with the writers in advance. So we don't make up stuff per se. There might be moments or beats at the beginning or end that are kind of get you in and out, but for the most part, in my experience, there's not a lot of improv going on. In terms of contributing to character, at least, so this is Rich answering it, and then, they write the character, and then you bring your spin to it. So they've laid out a really effective roadmap for what the character should be. As an actor, your job is to embody that and interpret that how you see best suits the character. So there's obviously a lot of impact Rob has on Chuck and God, a lot of impact I have on my character. But that door is opened by the writers who have sort of given us the guidelines in how the character speaks and what this character does action-wise that lead us to those conclusions. And so they're being creative on their side, we're creative on our side, and together they sort of create a unified vision of the characters.
They have a very specific thing that they need the character to do, and we have no say in that. We say the lines as they're written, and we play out the storyline as it's written. But within that, sure, we bring ourselves to it, and what we've been doing in all these years. I mean, now the writers know how we talk, and so they can write lines because they know that that's kind of the way that my cadence is. When they write for Rowena, it's all in that sort of Scottish brogue. It is, and because they know that that's the way that Ruth's going to say it. But that's something, because we play recurring characters, that's something that they know now. It's almost like a team effort in that way. But no, in terms of our characters' lines and actions, we really have no say over that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And that's why when some of us get the scripts and we do horrible things, we're like, oh my God, people, I just want you to know that's not me doing that. They're telling me to do that. That's why I'm doing it.
But it does seem like you hold the Winchester's faith.
Yeah, no, I know. That's how it's written. Okay, but.
Hi.
Hey.
So obviously we all know you as your characters as actors, but Rich, you've been directing a lot of Supernatural lately, and also Lucifer and other shows that are great. I was wondering for both of you, sort of what your favorite aspects are of directing or writing. Rob, I know you have a short film. Expressing yourself in different creative ways than acting.
I think the whole process is a team sport. For making a play is a team sport. Making a TV show is a team sport. Making a movie is a team sport. And so it's different parts of the roster you're taking over when you take over a different job. I enjoy acting a tremendous amount. I will never not love acting. What I enjoy about directing is the closest analogy is, I'm a chess player, not a chess piece. Because when you're an actor, you come in and you're bringing your perspective and everything, but you are doing what the overall vision of the director is at that point. You didn't pick the location, you didn't pick the tone of the scene. The script and the director are guiding you in a certain direction. Obviously, actors, especially lead actors, have a lot of say in how things play out, but it's my job when I'm a director to know the entire story. Not just Rob's scenes, not just Jared's and Jensen's scenes or Misha's, to have a view of what the whole episode is trying to say and tell, and have spent a lot of days prepping that so that I can best execute that when everybody arrives on set. And I enjoy being a part of that process with everybody. I enjoy being in the kitchen to see how the sausage is made and getting my hands dirty and making it. I like that a lot. Rob, as far as writing goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's really along the lines of what you're saying. As an actor, you don't have a lot of say. You have, like I was saying just now, you have kind of a small window within you. You have the ability to sort of make choices. But as a writer, you can be the creator, and you have more control, and that's what I really enjoy about it. It's freeing, to have an empty page and go, wow, this could go anywhere, and it's my control. That's a fun, creative place to be. As an actor, it's a challenge in an exciting way, because you do have these boundaries, and then you have to figure out within the boundaries what you can do, what you're capable of doing. But yeah, as a writer, it's just freeing because you can actually.
Yeah, and you take the whole, like when Rob and I worked at Kings of Con together, we're telling every joke and every story the way we see it. It's all us. Nobody can tell us that's not how it goes because we're deciding how it goes, and there's something really fun about that.
We even do this thing where like Rich is like, write as if we've got an unlimited budget, and then we'll figure it out later. And maybe we're not on an airplane, we're in a restaurant, but like write as if you could write anything, and that's a fun exercise.
And it's interesting being when you're an actor, and I'm sure you've had this experience. You are rehearsing a scene in your home, and then you arrive on set, and the director has a plan that looks nothing like you had in your head.
Right.
And that can be frustrating sometimes. You're like, oh wow, I thought this was an emotional scene, and you're having me play it like a comedy, or vice versa, or whatever.
I'll even be thrown if I have an audition, and in my mind, the reader was over here, and then the reader actually is over here, and then like, oh shit, I got this whole, okay. You know what I mean? Like in my mind.
100%. So it's just a very different process. Fun and rewarding in different measure for each one, but different for sure. Thank you. You.
Hi. So my question is, if we were to ever have some crossover with Supernatural and Lucifer, what do you think with Rob, you playing Chuck, what do you think interaction with your character and then Lucifer, who's placed, Tom Ellis plays Lucifer, how that interaction would go with you guys?
Here, I'm going to leap in before Robbie gets to the answer to that. Because I think what would be fun, if we're really going to have the crossover with Lucifer, you have Rob as Chuck God, Tom Ellis as Lucifer. Pellegrino comes in as Lucifer. And Tim Amundsen comes in as God because he played God Johnson in Lucifer. So then you have Amundsen, Benedict, Pellegrino, Ellis.
Face off.
Go. Yeah.
And then Misha Collins, when he was possessed by Lucifer.
Yes.
Cassifer.
Go.
And we're all trying to figure out who's who and what's what.
Yes.
No, I'm omniscient.
Yeah.
No, I'm omniscient.
What? I love this.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just a one shot. Handheld. Around the circle.
Oh man. It's good.
Scene.
Thank you for your question. Thank you.
Hi guys.
Hi.
So I know Matt has talked a little bit about you, Richard, kind of mentoring him as far as directing, and word on the street is Matt is directing an upcoming episode of Supernatural. So I was wondering if you have been involved in that process at all, if and kind of how that has looked.
If I'm involved in what process? Matt directing?
Yeah. If you've kind of like helped him, I'm not sure like where he's at as far as like the prep. I'm not quite sure what that time.
He didn't have a script yet.
Oh.
So he won't have a script for a little bit. Right now we're prepping 12, and he's doing episode 15. So I think he's been given what's called an arena, which is a 3 or 4 page paragraph to outline of what a script is, what the story is, but he won't be able to start prep until a few days before his official prep. He'll probably get the script 3-4 days before he were to fly to Vancouver. I won't really be involved in that process. That'll be Matt on his own, but Matt came up and shadowed me when I was directing 1505. Which was, I know I shadowed 3 different people before I directed an episode. Bob Singer, Phil Segresha, and Tom Wright. So I know how valuable that experience is, and it was, regardless of the fact that Matt and I are friends, doesn't matter really. Watching a director work is incredibly helpful. Everybody's going to have their own methods, but it was great for me to watch 3 different directors work, and for Matt to be there for me, watch me work, but also to go to all those meetings, to understand everything that's going to happen in the process, because as long as I've been in TV, and I've been on TV longer than Matt by a spell, but I didn't know everything that went into that prep process until I did it either, or shadowed either, because as an actor, we're not privy to that process at all. It happens before we arrive in the city where the show's being filmed, and it happens in a production office that we rarely go to, except for a costume fitting or something.
Totally, yeah.
So, that's fair.
I'm same. I started when Rich did. We've been at it for a long time. I never quite knew or respected that until you started doing it, and I just got a bird's eye view through you. Now I respect all the other directors, and every time I have another job, I'm like, oh, now I know what they're doing 2 weeks before this.
Right, yeah, exactly. So for Matt, Matt has been, I have every faith that Matt Cohen, well, people really hate Matt Cohen. Wow, Doesn't bode well for Matt's future. Hey Matt, how you doing, buddy? How's your trip home? Hey, listen, something weird happened. Brought up your name, people bolted for the exit.
We cleared the room.
Yeah, luckily they had a photo op to go to, otherwise I don't know what they would have done in the lobby. I guess Creation threw together a photo op to, soothe their rage.
Should
but
we go also?
it's a real expensive photo. I don't think we have,
Right.
maybe Christmas bonus time.
Okay.
Matt is going to do great because he's a focused guy who is putting all of his energy when he's not, putting his energy into his other jobs, which are plentiful. He's very, very focused and determined in this directing assignment he has. His short film was very, very impressive. He got this job because he did a great job. They don't hand out directing slots. He impressed the executive producers of that show tremendously with his short film. So he's getting this opportunity. He's taking it very seriously. He's been 2 weeks up there shadowing me. He's, emotionally ready for this job. And he's been standing on the side of the pool for the last year. And when somebody hands him the script a few days before prep, he gets to dive in and learn how to swim. And that's how it happens. You don't really know what it's like until you're doing it. And Matt will adjust beautifully. He happens to be shooting an episode with one of the nicest and most supportive crews in the business. So if you're going to have the first episode, doing it with family, that is the Supernatural family, is the best and safest place to do it. So he's going to be in great hands. He's a great creative mind. He's a great energy. People like being around Matt, and people like listening to Matt because he's an upbeat dude. And he's going to, without question, be successful. No doubt in my mind. And I look forward to seeing what he comes up with because I know it's going to be awesome. And I know I'm going to watch it and go, that son of a bitch, I never would have thought of that because he's that good. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him do well.
Hi. So I'm getting married in March. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I was wondering what sort of advice you would have for the first year of marriage. I've always heard that was always the rockiest.
Let's see. So first year.
Do you live together now? That's good. I think it helps when you've lived together first because, I think that's to me that's a big test when you first start to live together.
Yeah, I think for Rob and me, being a little bit older, I think our first year of marriage advice for me, based on my first year of marriage, simple things. Use a push button phone, not a rotary phone, and have the one phone in the house in the living space.
I don't. That's not.
And then when you're developing your film, I say get 3 or 4 rolls deep because you start taking one roll and then you're back and forth to the drugstore constantly. Take 3 or 4 at a time. Get those developed.
They don't do that.
And then you can go through and decide what you want. What are you talking about? Like you're going to blow up some photos from your buddies.
It's all
you don't know what they look like till they come back from the developer, right?
It's all digital now. It's all digital now. And this is
Not our first year of marriage.
2019. That was your first year of marriage. 2019, first year of marriage, different thing. 2020, no less. She's getting married.
Oh.
It's okay now.
Right.
But yeah, so you want to make sure you have each other's beeper number.
Now that's good advice.
Right, I think that's important.
You want to have that beeper number.
And make sure you have that 1-800 payphone number.
Yeah,
to call.
yeah, 1-800 call ATT.
Right.
You want to have that. And then you want to be sure that the one TV in the house, obviously it's going to be a 4x3 box television, but you want to be sure it has the attached speakers on the side, because a lot of shows this day are recorded in stereo.
Make sure you get all 4 channels.
Yeah, you want to be sure. Pony up for the extra antenna that gets you the Fox.
Yeah.
But you're going to want that. Let's see.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now it's up to date.
You're welcome.
So, good luck.
Hi. First, I just wanted to thank you for an amazing concert last night.
Yeah, nice job, Bubba.
Thank you.
I both laughed and cried, so that was amazing. But my question was, do you have any advice for new musicians?
Well, what's great about being a musician now is that you've got a recording studio on your computer. So, if you own a Mac, it comes with GarageBand. So write music and record it. And if nothing else, just to sort of experience that process and learn from mistakes and do it again and try to do it better. And it's just a really fun process. So, you know, keep playing, play with people who are better than you so you can learn from them. And start recording your stuff. And you could even record video and put it on YouTube and see what people think of it. You know, as an artist now, we have, especially a musician, you have these methods that weren't available when I started. So so just do that, and and experiment with it. And if you're really serious, then do an open mic and play a couple songs in front of people. I mean, if you're really serious about being a musician and you want people to hear you, then you got to get in front of people at some point. So keep at it. Keep at it. Be creative and have fun with that.
Good luck. You.
Hi. So since you guys keep getting confused for each other, I was wondering if there was a sort of Freaky Friday thing and you guys had to swap, how would you live one day as each other?
I know that Rob would spend the day banging the snot out of my wife, which would be...
That is so completely true.
I know. And that's it. I would spend the day banging on the door, begging him to stop. So, thank you for your question.
Wow. What a Freaky Friday it is.
Yeah. You.
Hi, I'm Shelby, and my question was for Rich, and I wanted to know what you thought with the difference between acting the boys versus directing the boys.
Acting with Jared Denson versus directing Jared Denson?
Yes.
It's different. It's very different because it's a different assignment. It's not, when you're directing, my job is not just to direct Jared Denson. When you're directing a scene, you're directing everybody in it. And so you're coming in with an overall plan of what the whole scene is. So you're talking about what the blocking is going to be, if it's a complicated scene like a fight, or something more complex, or if it's a comedic scene, or whatever it might be. But they're both incredibly focused guys. And I know that the mythology is that it's a shit show of pranks and hilarity on set. And it's a fun place to work, but it's a place to work. And we have a very limited amount of time to do every scene, to get the whole show shot in a finite amount of time each day. And so, to be efficient, I've done my prep to be sure I know how the scene should work best. Those guys come in, we talk about that, we make changes based on what they think their characters will be doing if it doesn't totally align with what I've said. We rehearse it and we shoot it. In terms of the acting with them, I'm not involved in that process. I'm not part of the, hey, this is what the overall reach of the scene's gonna be. For my job at that moment is to be in the moment with these guys in real time and, do what the director is asked to do and then focus on being the character and having a lock-in with them and doing the play, as it were. Each scene sort of running in its full extent as like a play. Because you run each scene, even though you shoot it multiple times from multiple angles, you're running it usually in its full form multiple times. Not like a fight scene that you do in snippets or a visual effect scene that you do in snippets. So you really get to connect with the guys and whatever other actors are in the scene and just focus on that thing. Whereas when you're the director, you're focused on watching that thing to be sure it tracks with what you had in mind, plus everything else in terms of the visual ballet that you're working on with them and the camera crew. So it's a very different it's a very different collaboration. They're both collaborative with the guys. One is sort of overreaching collaboration for how do you execute this visually and be honest with your characters, and one is more how do we connect into the scene and make these beats work specifically. So that's the difference. Thank you. You.
Hi, my question is, in this season it was mentioned that all souls from hell can't go to heaven. How did John Winchester, when he escaped hell, go to heaven?
I have no freaking clue. I have absolutely no idea. What do you think?
Maybe God did it since his hand was in everything.
Totally agree. That's what I was going to say. Robbie, nicely done.
That works for me.
Yeah, good. Thank you. You.
Hi, how do you guys feel knowing that you've changed so many lives for the better through the 15 seasons of Supernatural?
Robbie, you've done a lot of good. How does it feel?
Wow, I mean, just to hear you say that, that's humbling. I'm glad that people have that the show has helped people, that coming to these conventions is such a great energy, and that helps. People say such sweet things about our music, that it's helped them. And I guess my first response is like, we feel the same way. You've changed our lives. You've helped us. This experience will forever be imprinted on my life. My life is changed forever because of it, and it's been an incredible run, and I think it's going to continue on. And so, thank you, and I'm so happy that it has, and I just want you to know it's same. It's reciprocal.
He's right. Thank you.
Hey guys, we love you so much. Thank you so much for everything you do. My question is going to be a little dramatic, I hope. Anyway, but if Gabriel somehow could come back this season, circumventing everything Chuck has done, how would that play out, do you think, between Chuck, Gabriel, and everybody else?
Robbie, you're always talking about this backstage.
Well, I mean, it's you play Gabriel. So
but every time I start to talk about it, you leap in with your big answer, so go ahead.
It would be a lot like that.
Yeah.
If Gabriel came back, it wouldn't be my favorite thing as God.
Favorite.
Rob would love it.
Love it.
Because we get to work together.
Yeah.
But yeah, God and Gabriel would probably...
It would look like one of Scout's comics.
Yes, exactly.
God Gabe.
God and Gabe. Oh, you. What are you doing back? I thought I killed you a third time.
Don't make me sew your lips shut.
Yeah, that kind of shenanigans.
Yeah.
So it would just be funny. A lot of hilarity.
That's probably not the drama you're expecting. You're welcome. You.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know if you've seen last Thursday's episode 5, where the Winchesters fought a villain.
You guys aren't caught up to the show? There's no CW in Jacksonville?
At our hotel?
Oh, which episode? Are you talking about the one that just aired or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Everybody calm down. And I did see it because I directed it. So I saw it a couple of times. I might be able to answer a question here. This is exciting.
He's going to know this.
What's up?
So, I was just wondering, the Winchesters have been hunting for a pretty long time.
Correct.
They warded their trunk against demons. I was just wondering how you felt about their decision to put the Equalizer, which is the only gun that could kill bodies,
In the glove compartment. Good eye. This was the subject of much debate on the set, because I wasn't around for earlier episodes of the season. So when they said, Lilith finds it in the glove box, I was like, the glove box? What the hell is a weapon in the glove box? And it was, I don't remember if it was the season finale, but at some point they put it in there. There's a shot. I think it's when you give them that equalizer in the finale, right? That's when they end up with that. And either in that episode or earlier in the season, I can't remember, they put it in the glove box. So it was literally just because the continuity, we had to put it in the glove box because that's where it had been put. And that was the story point. And I guess the idea is Dean forgot to move it? I honestly don't know. I mean, that's sort of like, it ended up being the thing that we were following the continuity of the story that had been previously delivered to us. So it was in the glove box when it had been handed there. And I think they probably did that so they could get a big bad to come in and take it. And otherwise they wouldn't be able to do so. So I assume that those dominoes were laid out like that on purpose in advance of that episode. But then we followed suit with it. And, even the Winchesters mess up. Every now and then, something slips through the cracks.
Not good enough, buddy. No, they're not buying the glove compartment answer.
Yeah.
I like getting this. She's like, I don't know if you've seen episode 5 yet, but why the hell would the director start with a wide shot?
Who directed that? Because that was literally the most effed up jigsaw puzzle I've ever seen assembled. Thank you for your question. And it's a good question, by the way. Smart question. Say it again?
They never showed that. Yeah, I don't think they ever showed that. I think maybe it assumed maybe they
When
kept...
Dean and Jack are in the
Huh?
car together, Dean and whoever Jack turns into is in the car. And
Say it again?
he put it in the glove box.
Oh, does he? I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
There you go.
Sorry.
Huh? They got a full-on bloodbath.
I just dodged an equalizer bullet there. How are you?
Lucky you.
I know, lucky you, because I got shot one. Yeah.
Hey, so I've heard that you're a little afraid of flying, Rich.
Yeah, honestly,
terrified.
This is the truth of the matter. I was kind of very afraid to fly for about the first 5 years doing conventions. That being 24 years ago, I'm not as really afraid to fly anymore.
Great though, like you like to fly with people.
I don't love flying, but I used to be afraid of flying. Like I used to get real one thing I'll say though, that will never change. There's nobody more fun to bother on an airplane than Rob Benedict. I mean that, buddy. You're really the most fun person to bother. You know what my favorite thing to do is? When he's watching a movie and he's into some part of this intense, I take his headphone off, ask him a question, and he goes, yes, Rich, we're going to have the shrimp. And I go, cool. And I let it go, and it goes, poof.
He also, as you're watching the movie, he'll go like this. Either he'll go, what are you watching? Or he'll just go, start trying to push pause on it so he can tell you some stupid thing. What? What is it? What are you doing? What are you watching? And then he got to rewind a little bit because he missed a part because his fat hand is going...
There's nothing better. May I never not be that guy. That's my wish.
He's not as afraid as he used to be.
Yeah.
He's not that great. He's not calm and easy.
Yeah, not calm, not petrified.
It's weird.
It's weird.
But what was your question? Yes.
I'm a new flyer. I'm nervous.
Okay.
I was wondering if you had any tips.
I do.
Yeah.
Here's your tip. This is going to make you comfortable every time.
Yeah.
Always fly with Rob.
Yeah.
Done it. You can bother the shit out of him. He'll get frustrated, but he'll never hit. And then you end up kind of chuckling to yourself every time he gets upset. And then he'll start drinking wine. He'll get all shaky and annoyed. And it's just a fun ride. It really is. I say that's my advice. Always fly with Rob. Robbie?
You know, I wrote a song about his fear of flying called Trigger Finger, and really the basis of the song is like, don't worry, buddy, I got you. This one time, I'm afraid of everything else, but I'm not afraid of flying. So this one time, I got you, buddy. I'm gonna write a new song. It's called You're Driving Me Effing Crazy. It's called, excuse me, Sue, aren't you actually in 20B?
You know,
it's called This Seat's Taken.
This seat's taken. There's a movie idea, a movie poster that Rob and I used to always joke about, having that was, Bruce Spade, Rob Benedict, and it would be me on one side, Rob on the other, and over me it says, he's afraid of flying. Over Rob it says, he's afraid of everything else.
It's true.
The only time Rob is an absolute, you want to be in the trenches with him, alpha male. The two places that Rob is literally like, man, Rob doesn't take shit from nobody. On an airplane, and when addressing a customs official or police officer. I do not know why that's when he suddenly goes, yeah, I am coming in your country, mofo, and I'm coming in right freaking now. So why don't you little stampy stamp so I can walk? And I'm behind him going, Christ, we're going to the slammer. What are you here for? What are you here for? And you know I'm not lying. You're so aggro. Like, what are you working on? Supernatural? That TV show? No, it's a fucking novel. Yeah, it's a TV show. I'm going across the border to get my typewriter, you dipshit. Yes, it's a TV show. I'm gonna walk across the border, and you're gonna put your fucking hands down. I'm crossing the border, and you're gonna look the other way, get my bag, and I'm effing out of here to make a TV show. Try and stop me.
Oh, that makes me so angry.
Customs officials. And meanwhile, you're like, yeah, we're crossing the border right now. And no, you may not see our passport. We're getting this done right now. We're walking across, and you can suck it. Isn't that right, Rich? And I'm like, ah!
Yeah, one time we went up to the customs official together.
Oh man, we're so mad.
And he checked mine, and then I started walking away. He's like, hey, where are you going? I was like, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. And Bruce was like, dude.
Because this guy was a real jerk. He was like, this is the guy, I know this is the old dude. He's like, what are you guys here for? TV show? TV show. What do you mean, like a program that's filmed and
This is
broadcast in your box?
Vancouver.
Yeah.
They shoot every show on the CW in Vancouver. So many things are shot in Vancouver.
But the man acts like he'd never heard of television. He's like, how did we get there? Cable?
What
No,
is
like,
it?
there's
Press a button and
something
it comes up?
that brings a program of entertainment into my home. Visual stimulation.
Next thing you tell me they're wireless phones. Come on.
And he's like, literally, we're like, what show? Supernatural? Never heard of it. And Rob goes like, well, that's not my problem. I'm like,
It's true. Well, I can't help you, sir.
And I'm like, I also have never heard of it. It's the worst.
It's no wonder that I got detained in England.
No, it's not. By the way, when Rob got arrested in London for detained and put in the clink, and I heard that news, I was like, hey, Rob got arrested in London at the border. I'm like,
Eating that salad. Pass me that ranch.
Oh, he did he?
Yeah.
It was like, Rob got arrested at the border for the first time. The first time? All right, thank you for your question. You, right there. Little one.
Hi, I was wondering, what is your favorite episode that you were in and why that episode?
Favorite episode I was ever in. Robbie, favorite episode you were in?
I'd have to say in season 11, Don't Call Me Shirley. A really special experience for me, and mostly working with Curtis Armstrong, and also being able to sing Fare Thee Well at the end of that episode was a special moment. Rich?
For me, Unfinished Business. And I like Unfinished Business because it had the challenge of playing Gabriel and Loki and being the director of that episode. So I feel like that's a challenge I will never get again, and I think it puts me on a very, very small list. There's very few directors can say that they have directed themselves kicking their own ass. That's Rob Benedict right there.
That's Richard Pitt Jr.
This is it. Sunday has officially started. And then we're going to run on stage, pretend that we're done, and then run back out and announce the next thing. Come on. Next up
is
the auction. You've wondered how many vinyl photos you can fit in your living room of Misha, Matt, Jason, me, Rob. Well, now's your chance to find out. So get ready to bid on some stuff, and we will be back after that with more hijinks.
Going once, going twice, going once, going twice. Hey everybody, it's
I like that one.
Yeah, that's our auction song.
I like it.